my informative speech, I will be talking about caffeine. Before I embark any further on this topic, how many of you here today acknowledge yourselves as caffeine addicts? Think about this. How many cups of coffee do you drink daily? One, two, perhaps even more? How about other caffeinated beverages? And have you ever stopped to wonder how all of this caffeine could affect your body? Personally, I have had some encounters with caffeine. Sometimes I rely on it on those nights where you want to change your sleeping schedule by pulling all-nighters. Caffeine has become such a large part of our society today, and every once in a while, we are informed about how a recent study has shown it to be either beneficial or harmful to humanity. But with the mountains of positive and negative studies that are backed up by their own research, what do we truly believe in? Does caffeine cause more harm than good, or is it the other way around? Today, I will be informing you about what caffeine is, how it is absorbed into your body, explain both the benefits and the risks that we draw from drinking caffeine, and lightly touch on the safe levels of caffeine consumption. What I'm about to say will not cause you to change your caffeine consumption, but it will make you more aware of what exactly you are putting into your body. Okay, let's begin by learning a little bit about what caffeine is. Caffeine, in its pure form, is a bitter white substance that comes from the leaves and seeds of over 63 different plant species. It is found in caffeinated beverages such as tea, coffee, energy drinks, and foods like chocolate. Caffeine is known to us as a stimulant that helps increase focus and awareness. But I know by now you're asking, how exactly does caffeine work in our bodies? We'll get to that, but first we have to go through a little biology. As you stay awake throughout the day, a neurochemical called adenosine builds up in your body. In case you're wondering what exactly adenosine is, the nervous system uses special receptors to monitor your body's adenosine levels. So as the day goes on, more and more adenosine passes through those receptors, which end up making you sleepy. Caffeine, however, is a very good impersonator. It is the same exact shape and size as adenosine, so when you ingest your caffeine, your adenosine receptors can't tell the difference between the two and accepts the caffeine. And with caffeine occupying the receptors, a large majority of the adenosine gets blocked off, which ends up keeping you from getting tired. But that's not the whole story. When caffeine keeps the adenosine out, it leaves other high-energy neurotransmitters like dopamine and glutamate in your system to multiply, which gives your mind a jolt of energy. And that's how it works. If we applied an analogy to this, you could think of caffeine as a bouncer to a party. It blocks the entrance, keeping the tired molecules out while the stimulating molecules party on. Now that we have a better understanding of what caffeine is and how it works in our bodies, we can now move into the benefits of consuming caffeine. The benefits that come from consuming caffeine are that it increases your alertness and attention span. This effect is very beneficial for people who are, for example, working night shifts and driving long distances. According to Claire Wood from Top End Sports, caffeine contains antioxidants that can help lessen the contraction of diseases like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, cancer, and heart diseases. Labeling caffeine as a health benefit may be going a little too far, but I will admit that staying alert and awake while driving a car does definitely contribute to your well-being. Now that you're acquainted with the positives of caffeine, let's move on to the negatives. The negative effects of consuming caffeine are mostly dependent on the quantity that you consume. When caffeine is consumed in small quantities, for example, one soda or a cup of coffee, it can increase your heart rate and cause you to urinate more. In larger amounts, in extreme cases, caffeine can be fatal. Yes, it can. You have to drink over 100 cups of caffeine in order for that to happen, and I deeply urge you to please not try this at home. Now that you understand both the positives and the negatives of consuming caffeine, let us proceed to what's considered the safe levels of caffeine consumption. Having up to 400 milligrams of caffeine a day appears to be safe for the majority of healthy adults, according to Mayo Clinic. This is almost the amount found in 4 cups of brewed coffee, 2 energy shot drinks, and around 10 small cans of soda. Aside from coffee, chocolates usually have a little less than 10 milligrams per candy bar, but the darker the chocolate, the higher the caffeine content. In addition, most sodas with caffeine have about 30 milligrams per 8 ounces, meaning that you don't really have to worry too much unless you're drinking like 3 cases of 8-ounce sodas daily, which is a lot. The effect that caffeine has on you personally will also depend on your physical factors, like, for example, your mood, your weight, your height, and your overall sensitivity to caffeine. The strength and brew of cocoa beans also play a factor in caffeine consumption. Now that you have learned what caffeine is, you can definitely agree that it does contain both positive and negative effects on your health overall. But I'll honestly say that the bottom line is that if you keep a lid on the amount of caffeine that you consume, you should be fine. So the next time you're debating on whether you should take that second refill of coffee or open up a second can of soda, relax. At least now you have a clearer understanding of what caffeine will and won't do for you, will and will not do for you. Thank you for tuning in. Have a nice day.